Good morning, boys and girls. Let me hear a few more things that you guys did over the weekend. Anyone do anything exciting, fun? I heard a couple of the girls. Guys, anything? Nothing. Nothing at all? Reagan?
Well, it was also my brother's birthday.
Yep.
Saturday, so we went out and I came.
How old does he turn? 16. Woo! Are you scared or what? What did you do this weekend?
It was my brother's birthday too on Monday, so we went up to Madison and had lunch.
Is he in college? That's awesome. Anybody else, guys? You didn't do anything fun? Nothing. Did you go out Saturday? Did you go shopping? To the mall? Did you do a sport? Nothing? Girls, do you believe this, that they did nothing? Oh, yes? What did you do?
Well, I just sat around and played FIFA.
Hey, beef is something. That's exactly what my brother did this weekend. Well, I went to Colorado this weekend and I saw my cousin and her little daughter Layla, so I had a lot of fun. Tamia, what did you do? Say that one more time, I can't hear you.
I went to Illinois.
Yeah? And what did you do there?
It was a conference.
Went to a conference.
It was fun. It was like all teenagers and stuff, so it was fun. It was like a whole bunch of parties.
That sounds super neat. That's actually an awesome opportunity you had. All right, so we're going to get to the lesson. So Mrs. Dasher isn't here, so I'm going to do a quick mini lesson. But right now, in your heads, I want you to think, how did you start your paper when we wrote those papers to outline our debate for the child soldiers? How did you set it up? How did you start it? How did you end the paper? What information came first? What came next? Why did you put certain information before other information? Was there information that was more important? Was there information that needed to go at the end? Just kind of think about that. Talk with a friend next to you and explain to them how you set it up and why you put specific points first, specific points next. Kind of think of your debate. Why did you argue this point first and then this one? Why did you rebuttal with this one and then that one? So kind of talk with the person next to you. We'll give you 30 seconds and just kind of verbally say it. How does it because that's connected to this next All right, 10 seconds. Awesome. You guys are awesome today. So we are going to familiarize ourselves today with different organizational patterns that you will use this Friday when you have your on-demand writing. So keep these in mind. That's why I have your writer's notebook and utensil here. You'll be writing down these patterns as we go through them. So first, we are going to talk about, first of all, why did I ask you questions? Why did I ask you questions right away? Does anyone have an idea? It's kind of tricky. Think about the introduction of your debate. Did you ask any questions? Did you give statistics? Did you get a startling statement? What did it do to your opponent or to me as the judge? Did it kind of hook you? Hook, yep. So we want to keep that in mind when we are writing our introduction for any organizational pattern. So a hook, so a question, a statistic, a startling statement, or sometimes people even use a joke, but make it appropriate. So here in our first pattern, you guys might have used this for your debate. We have pattern 1. So would someone like to read this for me? Just kind of walk us through it. Anyone? Reagan, can you read pattern 1?
My position, reason 1, is it a slash?
Yes, evidence.
Evidence, and then reason 2 slash evidence, and then reason 3 slash evidence. And then other positions, opposing argument, reason slash evidence, and alternative argument, reason slash evidence, and then the rebuttal.
So this is kind of the setup that we used for the debate. We talked how we gave our position, we gave evidence, we gave our reasoning behind it. You can write this down as we're talking about it too, boys. Write this down, you will need this. So, reasons why this was helpful, just a little background, is it kind of guided your opponent and yourself through the debate, through the discussion. You knew what was coming for yourself, but your opponent didn't. But it also kind of helped them guide you. You started with your position, you went on to evidence, they knew what was coming, and then you went to your rebuttal. So you guys kind of had a little argument, went back and forth, and discussed who was right or why, or the evidence and the reasons and the statistics and the sources. So this pattern is kind of like a board game. I like to compare it to a board game. You're trying to get to point A to point B with a clear, clean sweep. So it's very laid out, starting with your position, saying, this is my position, I believe in this, I know this, because of these sources and these evidence. And then it gives the other position that you'll talk about, with other evidence and other statistics. But then you give that rebuttal and you snap back and say, but no, this is what's going on, this is what's needed. Yes?
Okay, for under other positions, when it says reasons, does that mean like reasons 4 and 5 are the same ones as
No. For other positions, so opposing argument, you would give like,
is that your counter argument?
yes, it is very similar to your counter argument. So you're talking about, remember when we were figuring out what a potential counter argument could be for the other team, for the debate, and then we thought of something else to say to rebuttal it? It's very similar to that. Put your pens and pencils down. I'll give you a couple minutes to finish writing this. Good job, boys. Girls, keep it up. Okay, so this is similar to kind of how you set up your debate last week. Very similar. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Do you think that there are other ways to write a paper? There's a little giveaway on the board. Yeah, thumbs up. There's a couple other ways. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to talk about pattern 2 and pattern 3 kind of together. So as we're talking, you can write this down as well, and I'll talk a little bit slower so you guys can grasp this. So pattern 2, we see that it starts with a counter argument with reasons, evidence, and a rebuttal. And then it goes to the position with 3 reasons and evidence, kind of like the pattern. So it's switched. Why do you think that is? What could be a benefit of writing your position paper like this? Can anyone think of a benefit? Yes.
So first you would probably be like, first saying like what the other side is thinking, and then like supporting your side more, and then you like it, and you fill out with more evidence.
Yes, awesome. Did everyone hear that? Yep. Does anyone else think of a benefit that could help them? Or, yes, Reagan?
Well, it could transition really nicely into like supporting the point like Katie said, because like you, since the rebuttal at the end, that's like saying like you're finding like reason why the counter argument is wrong, and then it could transition to your point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So good transition between the counter argument and your position. So a couple other things, it gets the audience to hear the counter argument first, and then the rebuttal, like Reagan said, and then your evidence. So possibly the audience or the reader that's reading your position paper, like the one that you will be writing on this Friday, another reminder, that when you write it like this, having your position last with your evidence last could make a more lasting impression on them. So keep this in mind when we're talking about this, and also a little bit later when we're researching and taking time to map out our position paper. Pattern number 3. So we have reason 1 with evidence, counter argument, rebuttal. Reason 2 again with those 3, and reason 3 with evidence, counter argument, and rebuttal. So this one's a little more tricky, and actually even took me a long time to figure this one out, but that's all right. It's okay to take some time and look at it and kind of decipher it in a way. So this one for number 3, I'm going to explain this to you, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about this and figure this one out. So number 3, it separates each reason and gives its own advice. The counter argument and rebuttal is all in one. So I will repeat that one again. Number 3, pattern 3, separates each reason and gives its own advice, counter argument, and rebuttal all in one. Boys, do you have pattern 3 down? Yep. Once you are done talking, turn to your partner or your group of 3 or 4 and explain the benefits of pattern 2 and pattern 3. We talked about a couple of them, but can you think of another one, especially for pattern 3? I didn't point out any evidence or benefits for this one. So can we think of a benefit for pattern number 3? I'll give you about 30 seconds to talk about who's around you. Hold that together. Okay, 20 seconds. Okay, I see that it's gotten quieter. I have someone right here who gave me an awesome idea, and I would like for you to share that, because that was, first of all, her word choice. Listen to her word choice. Second of all, the reasoning behind it is really awesome.
Okay, so one of the reasons why I think this would help is that it just includes the counter argument. And if you can give like reasons why the other side is right, but then like slander it with your evidence, it just sort of ruins their points.
So doesn't that make sense? That's an awesome way to explain it. Do you have another way to?
Yeah, we kind of said the same thing, but like instead of proving the other side wrong once, you do it 3 times so it helps your side
Yeah.
more.
And you separate the reasons. So you're giving reason 1 and you're like, but no, this is the evidence that's real, this is true. You can go back to the child soldiers like, no, they are victims because of this. They are perpetrators because of this. After you talk about that counter argument and you just give a good boom to that. Does anybody else have a benefit? Yes, Larissa.
Well, then you can like include more evidence, because you might have like good evidence, but then you kind of have the counter argument, and then you give more evidence behind that,
Yep.
and then it gives like great evidence instead of just good evidence.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we have the 3 patterns here. Just a note, when you do write your paper, you kind of do each paragraph for each point. Does that kind of make sense? So my position would be 1 paragraph, other positions, another one, rebuttal. So just kind of keeping this in mind for the on-demand, once again, that will be on Friday. So that'll be on the topic that you chose. And if you're choosing a topic today, we'll discuss it, and you can come up to me and talk to me about it. But right now, I'm going to explain this first, and then we are going to go back to the tables. With the 3 patterns written in your notebook, I will also keep them up on the board. You're going to go back to your tables. Whoever's at your table, you're going to discuss how you could have organized your child soldier debate with using these 3 different patterns. We're just going to discuss it in small groups, and I'm going to walk around talking to each individual table. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes for this, and then I will start walking around. All right, I want you guys to be talking finally with your table. Not talking about what happened this weekend. I gave you a chance for that. We're talking about the child soldiers debate and how you could reorganize it.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, the debate, counter arguments in the debate would have been really useful. I didn't do that. Yep, I'll be there in a second.